Hello there, a very good evening. Thank you for joining us. You're watching New Vision TV News. My name is Lynn Komjisha. Here are some of the stories we are working on.
Kenzo congratulates Rema upon introducing her fiancé to parents. Uganda Airlines makes maiden flight to Kilimanjaro. News around the world, South African Airways cancels all its flights ahead of a strike. In the special report, the government expands assistance to the elderly.
Hello there once again. Thank you for joining us. Now we come to you from the New Vision newsroom. Eddie Kenzo, celebrated musician and ex-lover to artist Rema Namakula, has congratulated her upon reaching her long-awaited introduction ceremony with fiancé Hamza Sebunya. The ceremony took place in Nabingo, Wakiso. Kenzo posted his message on his Facebook account and prayed to God to protect Rema and also help her block negativity. His post stated, "My friend Rema, I dearly congratulate you upon reaching this special day as God had planned it for you and pray that you enjoy it greatly. I also pray that you close your ears to the negativity that surrounds us and always know for a fact that I'm your true friend who wishes you well." Eddie Kenzo's baby mama, Rema Namakula, is yet to tie the knot with Hamza Sebunya, whom she introduced to her parents today. Still on the story of the day, the glitterati of Uganda, including the Nabagerek of Buganda, has attended Rema's introduction ceremony. Many Ugandans have been waiting to see how the occasion will unfold. In this gallery, with some of the best shots our reporters took from the ceremony, we present the decor and how the bride made her entrance for the occasion. Take a look.
Boyfriend, your love is a bomb. I'm yours, your cargo, let's fly in your chopper. Hey, yeah. All you know, Mukwano, Tani, Nina, Kona, Mubini, Magumba, Sekuso. One per love, baby, one per Kusa, one ponya, love, nigga, with Samikozo. Would you mind, calling your phone at any time? Would you mind, but tell us someone, Tim, and now I'm
good to ja. Good to ja. Oh, tell me, baby, oh, Mutima, go better, good to ja.
Good to ja, good to ja, good to ja. Oh, tell me, baby, oh, Mutima, go better, good to ja.
Kuma kukona we do. Kukona we do. Kuma kukona we do. Kukona we do. Kwata pani, kwata olupapula nsoke nkuwe. Byonna byoyagala, wandika ntuma nkuwe. Kubanga omutima gwange wagwefuga, naye nze saagala kumanya by'obefuga. By'onfuga binyuma gwe yongera nsaba nkuwe.
Yegwe yonozoke nakuyona, subire waleta mu mutima munda byebe. Kwagala omuweka, wansangula maziga gonna.
Good to ja, good to ja, good to ja. Oh, tell me, baby, oh, mutima kubera good to ja.
Good to ja, good to ja, good to ja. Oh, tell me, baby, oh, mutima kubera good to ja.
Kuma kukona we do. Kukona we do. Kuma kukona we do. Kukona we do. Omutima mulwadde yanguwa, baby gwe musawo, kwata wano awawo.
Beautiful. Moving on, Uganda Airline is on the move to expand its routes across the East African region. On Wednesday, it made its maiden flight to Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The flight U332 touched down Kilimanjaro International Airport at 11:38 a.m. from Entebbe International Airport. The 1.5-hour flight was flown by Captain Michael Etiang, assisted by First Officer Vanita Kaiwa. In his speech at Kilimanjaro International Airport, the tourism minister Minister Ephraim Kamuntu said the new route to Kilimanjaro is a complement but not a competition to other airlines. He asked the regional airlines to work together to better the East African integration. The route to Kilimanjaro is the 7th route for the Uganda Airlines. Now, a primary 3 pupil in Jinja district has boxed his classmate to death. The 12-year-old, name withheld, of Lokolo Junior School in Budodo sub-county is said to have descended on Sowedi Mugulusi 11 and boxed him twice while in class, leading to his collapse. Diana Nandaula, Kira Region Police spokesperson, said the tragic incident happened Wednesday. In Gulu district, over 70 people have allegedly been conned of money worth over 40 million Uganda shillings by a suspected fraudster known as Kennedy Ochaya. The people who stormed the Gulu RDC's office said the suspect persuaded them to give him money in exchange for jobs in his organization, Revival Generation Organization. They also asked to pay 1.4 million to help them open bank accounts and process passports. When they gave him the money, Kennedy Ochaya disappeared and is still on the run. We have Willie Charles Okello, a victim.
Man called Kennedy Ochaya came from South Sudan and started recruiting people here. He recruited 74 people. In the recruitment, everybody who applied actually became successful. And he started calling them one by one, telling them to support him because the donor transferred money into his personal account, 2.2 billion shillings. And the government blocked the money in his account.
He promised to pay me, but he did not pay. There is no way we have put a mutual agreement that he has paid or he is not going to, he has failed to pay me. I got him, I said pay me. The guy refused to pay me, so I have the right to complain that he has to pay me.
One day, Mark Awunda and Stewart was looking for Uchai Kennedy to be arrested. And my child Amerigo with all that hard, but me down in the water child. I mean, look at them, your carry. And I tell Uchai Kennedy, as a mother, why you young man, what a look at the charity organization you get a charity.
Anyway, there's nothing that I can say, man. That money was taken, and to me, by the way, there's nothing. I see like if the money can be refunded, it's fine. If they cannot, then that is how things happen.
So you've just given up?
I've actually given up. I don't feel even like going to make statement.
You are the one who was writing records. Yeah. And therefore, okay, sit down. You sit down. So that is the guy who was receiving money and writing. Yeah. What do you call using your number? Then I talk to Kerry. The board member is here. CID, are you capable of calling Kennedy? Shortcut. All of you go to the police, report your cases. Each of you will make statements, then they will help you to recover the money. Agree? Yes. Yes, sir. If he refuses to pay you back, he will be charged in courts of law. Have you understood? Yes. Follow the law. 2, the board is here. The board members should be held, if you can also summon all their board members, to recover the people's money.
We now get into the news around the East African region. Kenya is on the course with the immunization of 800,000 girls against cervical cancer, Health Cabinet Secretary Cicely Kariuki has said, and allayed fears about the safety of the vaccine. Kariuki said the pilot exercise targeted girls aged 10 years with the first dose of the vaccine. So far, 280,000 have received the first dose of the HPV vaccine manufactured by Merck Pharmaceuticals under brand name Gardasil. Now for news around the world. The Democratic Republic of Congo today introduced a second vaccine to fight a 15-month-old epidemic of Ebola in the east of the country, according to Doctors Without Borders. Now, the new vaccine produced by a Belgian subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson will be administered to about 50,000 people over 4 months. More than 250,000 people, many of them frontline health workers, have been immunized with another anti-Ebola vaccine in a program that began last year. The epidemic began in August 2018 in the province of North Kivu before spreading to neighboring Ituri and South Kivu, a remote and largely lawless region bordering Uganda, Rwanda and Burundi. The notorious hemorrhagic virus has so far killed 2,193 people, according to the latest official figures. South African Airways said it was cancelling all its flights as thousands of workers vowed to press ahead with an indefinite strike after the national carrier announced a major retrenchment plan. Around 3,000 workers, including cabin crew, check-in, ticket sales, technical and ground staff, are expected to take part in the open-ended strike starting Friday. The looming shutdown forced South African Airways to announce in a late-night statement Wednesday that it has cancelled nearly all its domestic, regional and international flights scheduled for Friday, November 15th and Saturday, November 16th. We'll now take a quick break and we'll be right back. From that break, you're still watching New Vision TV News. We'll now take a look at news in business.
In business tonight, Zimbabweans finally got access to new low denomination currency on Tuesday that authorities hope will end chronic cash shortages. But banks maintained an existing weekly withdrawal limit of $20, frustrating many customers. The new 2 and 5 Zimbabwe dollar notes and coins were scheduled to start circulating on Monday but failed to appear on time, causing confusion at banks. Shortages of cash, foreign currency, fuel and power are the most visible signs of the Southern African nation's worst economic crisis since 2008, when hyperinflation forced the government to ditch its currency. Tonight, Paul Busharizi, our business analyst, joins us to shed more light.
Any Ugandans who experienced inflation in Uganda, the minority now. The majority of Ugandans don't know inflation, don't know the ravages of inflation. But Zimbabwe's inflation had reached even hyperinflation, so we don't even have a clue about what that is.
I know.
But I saw in a story now that the inflation now is estimated at about 380%.
Wow.
Just to give you a sense of that, if you have inflation of 380%, your prices are doubling. Every month, your prices are doubling. So if you bought bread, if you bought a newspaper on today, and you come a month later at 2,000 today, you come a month later it'll be 4,000. You come another month later it'll be 8,000. Come another month later 16,000. That's the situation. But I talked to a Zimbabwean a few weeks ago, a few days ago, and he said, well, the inflation figure is a bit of a theoretical one because there's actually no money in circulation.
Wow.
So we read the story where even the central bank has restricted withdrawals from the bank to $20. Can you imagine? They tell you you can only withdraw $20 probably a day. Even in Uganda, it would be a disaster. So, but that talking about that, I think it's a disaster for them even to try and have a new currency, because inflation now, which is at 380%, will just make those notes also useless because they've introduced a $2 note and a $5 note.
Yeah.
Okay, one reason.
But this is Zimbabwean dollars.
Zimbabwean dollars.
Yes.
But also another reason why they do small notes is that hopefully that you will be discouraged from carrying too many, and therefore maybe they'll find out managing supply. It's a bit of a psychological thing, but it kind of doesn't. I don't think it'll work. So Zimbabwe is in a very tight situation because right now, as we speak, they're having hunger issues. I think the weather has been bad, there's been drought or something, and harvests have been bad, so there's a hunger situation. Now, the problem with where they've come from using dollar notes, or they're hoping to move away from using US dollar notes. The problem with using foreign currency is that somebody else is controlling your supply of currency.
That's true.
So in the case of Uganda, let's say, let's just use Uganda as an example. If we had drought, and the government says, you know, we don't have money for the drought, they can print money, in theory. Not in theory, they can actually print more money, sort out the drought issues, and then we shall sort out things later. Zimbabwe doesn't have that option.
So where is all this headed?
This printing of new notes is a emergency, it's a crisis. They need to be able to print the money, hopefully, to help these emergency situations. But you can see with the inflation of 380%, it's just going to flop spectacularly.
What are the options? What can they do right now?
Well, you know, we've done it in Uganda before. One thing about Uganda, we are lucky, is that we produce our own food.
Right.
We don't need to import anything if the worst came to the worst. And it was shown throughout the 70s and the 80s. So that kept, but you see, Zimbabwe doesn't have that luxury. But essentially what happens is, first of all, you've got to fight the inflation. And how you fight that inflation is you've got to reduce money in supply. Because inflation is caused by too much money chasing too few goods. They're not producing yet. So you have to reduce the supply of money, which is very painful. It means laying off people, it means cutting salaries, it means freezing salaries, it means all sorts of number of things. And then you simultaneously have to increase production so that the goods match up with the money supply, and then you can hopefully, and that takes time. You can't just do it like this.
Well, that's Zimbabwe for you. We hope they get out of that. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
That was news in business. Now, into our special report today, the government recently expanded the social assistance grant for the empowerment to include more districts in the 2019-2020 budget. The new districts to benefit include Rema, with the elderly set to receive 25,000 Uganda shillings per month. The program also intends to include all senior citizens above the age of 80. We have more.
According to 2019 statistics, the population of Uganda is around 44 million people. The number of the people above the age of 60 is estimated at around 897,600. This is 2.04% of the total population. The Social Assistance Grant for Empowerment, commonly known as SAGE, which falls under the expanding social protection program of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, targets senior citizens of the country. Social protection is recognized all over the world as a critical element of national development strategies. It is recognized by the Ugandan government as key to reaching vulnerable, often excluded sections of the population, thereby achieving inclusive and equitable development. In 2010, the government of Uganda, with support from the UK's Department of International Development, the Irish Aid and UNICEF, piloted the Social Assistance Grant for Empowerment in 15 districts in Uganda, which are Amudat, Apach, Kaberamaido, Katakwi, Chiboga, Kole, Chankwanzi, Chegegwa, Chenjojo, Moroto, Nakapiripirit, Napak, Nebi, Yumbe, and Zombo, according to Kasaija, the head of the program's management unit.
Under the SAGE program, our emphasis has been on older persons, where we have what we call a senior citizen grant. So under this grant, we provide 25,000 shillings to older people every month. The idea is really to smoothen their consumption, to make sure that they have an income to cover their basic needs. And this started as a pilot in a few districts, started in 15 districts. But over time, because of the successes, which have been recorded under this program. There has been a lot of demand from the public, from politicians like parliamentarians. So as a result, it was agreed within government that this program should be extended to cover many more districts.
Following the successful implementation of the pilot, the government of Uganda announced a phased national rollout of the Senior Citizens Grant in 2015, where 40 new districts were to be added onto the rollout for the next 5 years. Under the plan, an additional 20 districts were to be added onto the program starting financial year 2015-2016. Subsequently, 5 new districts were to be added every year until financial year 2019-2020.
From 2010 up to 2015, we were in 15 districts. Since then, we have expanded to reach 61 districts. And starting this financial year, we are going to expand this program to cover the entire country. And so all the districts of Uganda are going to come on board.
In phase 1 of the program, the Senior Citizens Grant targeted older persons of 65 years and above, but lowered it in the case of the vulnerable Karamoja region to 60 years. This was aimed at enabling them access basic services and to start income-generating activities. Due to the increasing demand, it was decided by the government that in this phase 2, all the districts that are coming on board should raise the age to 80 years in order to benefit from the grant.
The idea was still to make sure that we spread the program and reach a little bit wider area because of the high demand and pressures we are getting. Still, the idea was that once we take on 100, if the money increases, we could increase the number of beneficiaries to 200, 300, until we cover all people who are 65 years and above. So we took on that approach, but it has its own limitations because you find in some sub-counties you could have many older people, and you find the people who the first oldest 100, they are all stopping at 90 years. While in others, you may find they have very few older people, and it goes up to 75. So the age was not uniform. So that's why this time when we said, no, let us take the age at 80, it is 80 across the whole country. So everybody who is 80, I qualify because of my age. Rather than saying numbers 100, then another one is 75, another one is 80, another one is 80 somewhere, but because of the area where they live, they are left out because there are very many older people in that location.
Owing to the overwhelming demand in all the districts, Parliament of Uganda in 2017 passed a resolution to roll out the grant to all districts in the country, with the target of reaching out to 350,000 senior citizens throughout the country by the year 2020. Mr. Kasaija gives the guidance on the qualifications that are required by the elders who are joining the Social Assistance Grant Program.
We are now basing on the NIRA, National ID. So what we are doing, we are going to get our information and data from NIRA. NIRA did register all our citizens of Uganda. So we are going to get data, information from them, and we shall enter that into our computer, then be able to sort out all those people who are 80 years and above, those new districts. And once we have got that, we shall walk to the districts and be able to identify, verify whether these people are available in those communities. And so those who are available will be registered to the program. And after that, we shall share that information with our payment service provider.
As part of the implementation of the expanding social protection program, the Ugandan government aims to reduce chronic poverty and improve life chances for poor people. The Uganda Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment Program is a key element of the expanding social protection program and tests a range of implementation modalities to determine an efficient, cost-effective, and scalable social transfer. In part 2, we shall look at how the payment system was shifted from using mobile money to using Postbank. We shall also look at some of the examples of the successful elders that have benefited from the social assistance grant for empowerment.
And that was New Vision TV News. My name is Lynn Komjisha. I wish you a very good evening, and I leave you with a fact file.